Okay, right now we're going to move on to the race for governor this year.
Former West Hartford Town Councilman Joe Visconti is running against Republican-endorsed Tom Foley and Democrat Governor Dan Malloy.
Now, Mr. Visconti calls himself a red state Republican, an advocate for gun owners' rights. He secured a spot on the November ballot by securing 7,500 validated signatures to get on the ballot, and this morning he is here with us. We are very happy for that.
Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Alan and Jen.
All right. All right. Well, listen, what's a red state Republican?
Well, in the Republican Party, Connecticut is not known for being what's called a red state, or your traditional candidate who lines up with the Republican national platform. That's what I do.
That's because of the more liberal on social, and even though
correct, they try to be a hybrid in
fiscal.
Connecticut. When I ran against John Larson in 2008 as a candidate, I made a lot of that. It was a horrible year to be a Republican. Totally different now, 6 years later, to be on the trail. So the red state basically is saying we've been losing as a party, trying to be Democrat-like. And so it's important for people, I believe, to brand themselves and align with the national brand. You don't sell Coca-Cola in Texas that tastes different than New York or in California or Chicago. And so I think there's been a lot of confusion in the electorate as to who are you, what are you as a Republican, and so I've always stood my ground on what I am. I'm from West Hartford. I was a West Hartford Town Councilor and Republican, and I made it there. And if you can make it in West Hartford as a red state Republican, as a councilor, you can make it anywhere. A very liberal town that used to be Republican, and I just message our brand different. I don't betray the principles. I just message and connect with the public better.
So tell me, why should people vote for you?
Why will people vote for me? Well, on the trail this summer, we spent over 100 days gathering signatures to get on the petition, to be on the ballot. And when we did that, we asked those questions about the issues. And so what we found and why we were able to attain it is that people are looking for something different. They're looking for a regular person. I'm a contractor. I'm a builder. I spent 40 years in the trades. I've been elected. I've run for Congress, so I've spent a year in the trail learning the federal issues. Very important if you're going to be governor. You need to know what does Uncle Sam do for us. And I connect with the voters, I believe, because I tell them what is true. And right now I have the state budget in front of me. I'll hold it up as a prop. I've been spending a long time on this, and we will put a budget out. I think the budget will reflect who I am. And so I promised people the budget will come out in October, late September. We're working on it now. And where we need to cut, if we have to have tax increases. Right now we're looking at the budgets that are coming up for the next few years. We can't see a way, without union help, that we won't have a tax increase. Tom Foley, Governor Malloy doesn't even think we have a deficit, and Tom wants to flatline spending, which means not cut spending. It's going to go up 7%, not have tax increases, and not talk to the unions. People know that's hogwash. And so we want to give them a budget that'll reflect, and we'll also have the public weigh the budget, the choices where we can cut, where we can save, without losing one job. I don't want to, there's been a big talk about the unions. We're going to fire them. We've promised not one job loss. We may reallocate your position, but we're trying to keep Connecticut intact because an aging population, still in a recession, people are going to need more social services today from the government. And we can't afford anymore, so we have to get more efficiencies, and that's where I want the union to help us.
But doesn't history show that third-party candidates rarely are victorious, and what they serve to do then is, in your case, you'd be, whatever support you get is taking support away from Foley, could throw the election to the incumbent.
If Tom stood for the issues. Tom was all in for Common Core, which is one of my big issues right now. I've been opposing it for years, even in West Hartford on the council. As a liaison to the Education Committee, I called it the Education Cartel way before Common. Federal bureaucrats, think tanks, social engineers, top-heavy government forced down on locals. So Tom was all in. Then Tom says he wants it only in underperforming schools. Now he doesn't know where he stands on it. He has left those votes right on the table for me because so I'm not taking anything he's not going to get. And with the budget, he's not being realistic. We don't know what he'll say, but right now.
But don't you think that most Republican voters would rather have Tom Foley, since even though they like you, they'd rather do what they can to elect a Republican?
I do not need, with all respect to Tom, one Republican vote to become governor of Connecticut. Almost 900,000 unaffiliated voters, and that's what I am, an unaffiliated candidate. I am Republican. I'm allowed by law. Me and Chet Harris, my lieutenant governor, we're able to still be Republicans, but we have no party. And there's 750,000 Democrats. I'm peeling away more from Dan Malloy right now, and he knows it. with the rank and file union workers, the construction workers that aren't out there on bridges right now, carpenters union, even though the bosses are endorsing
and
the
gun
Malloy,
rights.
even though they're endorsing
The
him.
gun rights people.
The gun rights
it's
group.
important to get to that.
Yeah, well, let's get to it.
Yeah, you know, if you did get elected, your stance on the gun laws, I know you aren't a fan of the ones in place. Would you try to roll them back?
I will put bills to repeal. I have a strategy to do that. I've carried a gun for 30 years. I got caught in 1980 in Mariella boat lift. That's how I really got into self-defense, when I realized, wow, I came out of work at the Diplomat Hotel and there was tens of thousands of criminals from Cuba left on the beaches. I saw society break down. So for me, it's Second Amendment, it's self-protection, it's not an offensive thing. So I will put bills in, incremental bills on magazine restriction size and also assault weapon definition. I want a public hearing, so I will incrementally do it, and I will horse trade with Democrats. And one of my secret weapons is I'm not looking to let go of all the Democrat commissioners. We're going to work with the Democrats, and if they want to hold the jobs and help us, then we're going to horse trade, and I can't reveal more than that of our plan, but we won't put it in day one and take the whole bill and try to get out of there. That's foolish. A lot of the people that think, you know, I've claimed that I haven't, and I think the Q poll that came out this summer that showed people, by I think it's 56%, approved of the law. The majority approved it went too far. And where it went too far was the magazine size. Tom Foley calls that an inconvenience. No, Tom Foley, that is a constitutional infringement, not an inconvenience. So he's wrong on the issues, is why I'm in the race. He's going to let Dan Malloy back in the race. I'm closing the door on Malloy. Tom, sharpens up and he performs.
Unfortunately, we've got to close the door on this interview.
Okay.
We're out of time. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for talking with us, okay? All right.